What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to a fun edition of Tuffy Talk, y'all. As we are rolling here right really at the beginning part of the offseason. I know that us at the Tuffy Talk crew, we were all laughing earlier this week, being like, man, what are we going to do now? We said, you know what? Let's do a little bit of recapping, but we're going to do it through the eyes of Greg the Leg himself. So we, on the live stream this past week, did kind of like a full recap of all the championships, all the great things that happened during the 2023-2024 athletic season. But now we want to basically do it through the eyes of Greg himself. Because again, I mean, we'll talk about, how many miles that he traveled and, how many events he went to for sure, which was phenomenal to say the least. And kind of get the inside scoop, not only just what happened, but how it was. So, I know we were talking a little bit before the show, Greg, that we'll kind of start off here with the UConn football game. And, just talking about the experience there. And, so, I know we had said, Greg, that, this was your first time to the football stadium, which, and for me, I'll be honest with you, going into that game, I was a little nervous just because UConn was definitely, and UConn fans are very, very jazzed and hyped about this game for sure. Came off a decent rebuild season under first-year head coach and seemed, pretty excited about this and pretty excited about the opportunity to pull an upset. And so there was a lot of energy around it, but, give us your general thoughts in terms of, because I remember that you actually ran into a lot of traffic when you were trying to get to parking, right?
Yeah, we ended up staying just outside New York City, down in New Jersey. And so we had to break up the trip. It was just, it was like a 7-hour trip, I think it was. And so we did that. And we got so much traffic around New York. And I think we ended up losing probably like a half hour, 45 minutes of tailgating. So that was the first, all right, how are we going to pull this tailgate off? Because we had a lot of stuff we were trying to do. And that was just a lot of fun. That tailgate, real quick, funny story was the people next to us that showed up in a mortuary van, and they had the gurney, and they were putting all their coolers and stuff on a gurney of wood that transported dead people. That was just a weird thing, but they were cool people. I think they ended up throwing like $100 into the tailgate. So I was like, come on, keep eating then if you're going to keep throwing money at me. Yeah. But fun aspect of that trip. The stadium was, not much to be desired. It kind of reminded me of a Group of Five type stadium, having been in a couple of those type of stadiums in the past, following state at other locations. But overall, fun environment. I think, like you said, there's not a whole lot to do up there. The stadium is away from campus. We went and checked out the Dr. Seuss Museum and the Basketball Hall of Fame. Like that was just because when we do these trips, we try to, my dear wife, she puts up with a lot of nonsense. And so I try to give her some other things to go do on these trips instead of just a football game or basketball game or et cetera.
Yeah, no. And definitely. Like I remember when we did our game preview with some people from UConn, they were talking about how RG3, always said that was one of the toughest stadiums he ever had to play in, which, I mean, again, there was definitely a lot of energy for sure, but there's no doubt they're a basketball school, women's and men's, that's their focus. That's where it drives home. And just how you saw the rest of the season go for UConn, pretty much solidifies that, they're just not, and that's why it's still kind of is funny thinking about, how they were a part of conference realignment conversations. But again, unless you ever invest, into the football program, your choices are going to be very, very limited.
Yeah, football's king at this point.
It is. So, again, overall, still is a great time. Huge win for sure. I know it wasn't obviously the prettiest of wins, which is kind of how a lot of people think about, but no, definitely for the whole season. So, but so, kind of talk to me, Greg, in terms of, thinking about that moment. And if I were to, let's put it this way. Think about when we were tailgating before the game and I said, hey, Greg, I don't want to spoil any surprises here, but hey, this season we're going to go 9-3 and we're going to go to the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And then men's basketball, we're going to win our first ACC championship and we're going to go to the Final Four. Women's basketball, we're going to go to the Final Four. Baseball, we're going to go to the College World Series. Cross country is going to win 3 back-to-back national titles. It's just crazy to think about how think about ourselves in that moment, like we would have never in our wildest dreams had ever thought about everything that was going to occur that season.
Yeah, I'm going to use a Back to the Future part 2 reference with the Biff and the sports almanac. Have you seen Back to the Future 2? If you had given me that almanac with all that information telling me that was going to happen, I probably still wouldn't have believed you.
No shot. No way.
No.
Well, especially when you give all the context where, with football, you lost to, you had a horrible loss to Duke, which we'll kind of recap on a little bit, but but then with basketball, you had an embarrassing loss at Syracuse, and you were, just barely above 500 in the ACC.
Women's basketball that lost to Miami, there was some outliers there, but you just never knew. Because it's state, right? You don't know, okay, is this just an outlier? Is this how it's going to be? There were no expectations. Football had a little bit of hype. Basketball had no hype for men's. Women's were picked 8th in the ACC, so there was minimal hype there. And again, they don't always get it right. But if you kind of just saw it, you would be like, there's no way we're going to have this type of season in our athletic program.
No, absolutely not. So kind of thinking about the season overall in general, Greg, what games really stand out to you? Road games wise, what, home games, what really stands out to you?
Yeah, I think, for me, just having a good time. I thought, we had the tailgates at Virginia and Virginia Tech. I know you and your family were there, were at Virginia. That was a throwdown. We had, we have like 30, 35 people out there for a road tailgate. It just incredible the amount of support the fans want to come out and hang out and do things. In Virginia Tech, we were feeding the Wolfpack Club. We had some baseball players come out, and it's just to me that's the fun part. And we have our slogan in our little tailgate group that we're undefeated in the parking lot, and that's still a thing. Win, lose, or whatever at the games, we still have fun, and I think that's what we try to take away from these things is. Look, we don't control what happens on the court or the field or the playing surface, but we're going to have a good time. And I thought, the Duke game was just like, we were in the middle of that, like, what are we doing? And for me, I was like, that was the lowest of lows for the season. And I'm like,
easily,
look, I'm still going to go to these games. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to show up, and I'm gonna probably get in some more L's than W's, but we turned it around for sure in the football part of it.
Well, and so thinking about 2 road games specifically, Duke and Wake Forest, did you tailgate for both those games? Just down the parking lot?
So for Duke, we just we did. My buddy came in from Chicago, so we didn't do a lot of tailgating for Duke. His flight had gotten delayed. We had a few drinks and I think we grabbed a hamburger somewhere. And then we did at Wake Forest, the Wolfpack Club kind of rented out a restaurant bar. And so we got some food and drinks there before the tailgate. So one of the things that I had to promise my wife, if we were going to go to all the games, that we weren't going to tailgate at all the locations. So we strategically picked the places we wanted to tailgate for. And we ended up doing UConn, Virginia Tech. What other road game did we have? I feel like I'm missing a road game somewhere. What was that? Yeah, we did UConn, Virginia Tech. Then we had Wake Forest, Duke. Is that all the road games? I thought we had one more. Oh yeah, five road games. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
So rank them, Greg, for me in terms of if you had to rank, what was, so Virginia Tech, Virginia, Wake Forest, Duke, and UConn, rank 1 through 5 in terms of, the stadiums you would or places you would love to go back to again. 1 being the best, 5 being, please, for the love of God, don't let me go back there.
So I think 1 has to be Virginia Tech. It's a great environment. The fans are really good until they start losing, which, you can probably say that for a lot of fan bases.
Which I mean, I always honestly say like you've seen like the meme of like the 2 like really bulky arms and then they like lock hands and whatever. Like I think that's us in Virginia Tech, because I mean like we're
Agreed.
Both the same mentality in terms of more that's Southern style, while Virginia and in Virginia UNC are more of the wine and cheese, and So yeah, no, Virginia Tech, I have no issues, no hatred towards really Virginia Tech whatsoever. So yeah, 100%
Yeah,
agreed.
so that's one. Two, I would in a weird way go Virginia just because it's a really pretty environment. They do things pretty well there.
Yep.
Three would be
this is where it's gonna be. This is like
this is where it gets weird. Man, this is bad. Duke.
Yeah,
I guess Duke.
Yeah,
I mean nothing there.
Like with Duke, it's more of just that. Like, all right, because I know that Duke fans can be pretty rough, but then they have something to put their feet on. But there's nobody there. But that's what I'm saying. So, but like at the end of the day, I can deal with it. But Wake Forest, it's just, I don't like going to Salem.
I will just give Wake Forest the next one just because UConn. It's not an ACC school.
Away.
Yeah.
Long ways away. It's group of 5. It's nothing there.
Yeah.
So no, agreed. So thinking about now moving to the ACC huddle. So just remind everybody once again. So you had an opportunity to be on the pregame show ACC huddle with Eric McLean and EJ Manuel and Mark Rick and those guys. So just a brief synopsis once again. How'd you get the invite and what was the experience like?
Yeah, it was just me being me from the last couple of years that we've known each other. Was for anyone that doesn't know, Leighton and I met in 21 at the College World Series, so we've known each other for just a little over 3 years, right at 3 years actually now. And I'm just a crazy guy. I'll put myself out there. I don't care. I just like to have a good time. Never going to grow up. And state started, football started the Alpha Wolf thing last year. And so I was just being a dweeb, I guess, if you want to say, and say, hey, like Pac football, if you need an alpha starter, I'm your guy. This is the first game back since I broke my leg, yada, blah, blah, blah. And I guess one of the producers from the huddle just happened to see that tweet, and then they have their own little private chat with their crew. And everyone was like, anyone know this guy? And then Eric McLean, because he came on our program, and hopefully we have him on soon again. He's just a really great dude. And he was like, hey, man, you want to come on the huddle? I was like, yeah, let's do it. I was like, okay, like, is this really going to happen? And, the producer reached out and, gave him some backstory and it was there. We had you and I think Michael was there. I can't remember if Macon came. I can't remember.
Well, because I mean, well, just so Michael was basically glued to your hip. Like he was the one taking all the pictures and videos and stuff. And then me, I wanted to get the senior day stuff. So I was up in the box. So, and then Macon, I'm sure was getting pictures, we were all doing our own thing. It was a big day, big game for it.
It was a huge thing
for sure.
But this whole thing was just surreal. I had no idea what they were going to ask me. And I just kind of leaned into it and just had fun with it. And, it's definitely a moment I won't ever forget. It's even my cover photo for my Facebook page, because it's just, to see like the ACC network reaches millions of people. And I don't, obviously millions of people didn't see it, but just the potential of it being out there and just the moment was, the first time being back at Carter Finley against Carolina after the broken leg. It was a fun night. And of course we went out and took care of business, which, that was just the cherry on top for that evening.
How many times have you watched that clip back?
Man, I've watched it probably 10 or 15 times easily. Yeah.
Do you watch it and go, oh man, I should have done better? Or you're like, I'm pretty happy with how that went, actually.
Yeah. There's some things, because again, like not knowing what they're going to ask you. So you don't know you're like, if you had a chance to rehearse the answer in your mind, you'd probably give a better answer. But I thought it was fun. It was engaging. I definitely thought I did better than I thought I was going to do. I wasn't nervous. Normally I get nervous in those type of moments, and it just felt natural. And so I thought because it felt natural that I did a pretty good job, but it was a blur. And so when I went back to watch it, I was, oh, wait, that was my answer. Oh, okay. That's pretty good. But it was fun. Yeah.
I gotcha. Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. you can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. So now, moving on to, the women's basketball tournament run here in Greensboro, which is awesome. I'm telling you, man, like I don't know what we would do with Tuffy Talk, but if they ever moved the women's basketball away from Greensboro, it would be a rough time for sure. Because it's just such a great spot for it. Again, it's the birthplace of the ACC. It's a great stadium for it to be in. It's large enough, and it's in between, a majority of the ACC schools. So again, love the location for sure. Love it, love it, love it. But like for me, that championship run was. And honestly, like the team in general was just a huge, in my opinion, just a huge, I couldn't quite ever get my head wrapped around this team just because, again, you could see the ceiling was so high, but then there'd be so many things that, like, again, the game at UNC where it was like, what are we doing? This is awful. And then the South Carolina, Final Four second half where it's like, what are we doing? But
it happens
obviously. Nope, it happens. Exactly. And hey, listen, just like we said, I mean, a core of this team is going to be back next year. So learn from it and grow from it. So, but talk to me, Greg, in terms of, your thoughts on the ACC championship run, even though it fell a little bit short in Notre Dame.
Yeah. So for us, we had just gotten back to the mainland from Hawaii. And obviously we'll talk about that when we get to the baseball side of it. But Kristen and I, I think we got home on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't remember what day it was. And I think the tournament had kind of already started and we already had made the decision not to go. We just needed to kind of rest up and do that. And Greta Hayes, Madison's mom, reached out to Kristen and I Saturday afternoon. And she's like, we need you here. And I was like, Kristen actually had imposed a travel ban, if you will. And I showed her the message from Madison's mom, and I was like, "It's your call." Like I know we just got back from Hawaii. We've been traveling all through football and men's basketball, women's basketball, and she was like, "Yep, let's do it. Let's go." And I was like, all right, cool. Like, and so I think we got on the road about 7:00 that night, and I think we rolled into the Greensboro hotel about 12:30 in the morning. So, and very thankful for Greta's mom, or excuse me, Madison's mom, Greta, for the tickets. That was just a kind of a theme through this whole run. Just the Pack parents just supporting me, and then me supporting them back, however I can. And so, it was fun. We just fell a little short, but an amazing run through that tournament, and then obviously through the NCAAs all the way to Cleveland and the Final Four.
Yeah. Well, and I completely forgot too that you actually weren't even there for the whole run. It was ACC championship run. It was just a championship game. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. We literally drove 6 hours for one game. So
wow. That's crazy.
Each way.
So because remind me too, so for the NCAA tournament for women, what games did you go to for that NCAA tournament?
I didn't go to any. Yeah, I didn't go to any. I somehow missed my email to do the Raleigh regional, and so we didn't go to any of that, unfortunately. Again, I just kind of needed a break from traveling. And I thought I was done. I wasn't even. Well, we'll get to the men's here in a second, but I just didn't. After the ACC Women's Basketball Championship, I was done with women's basketball from in-person standpoint.
Which, and this is kind of like a quick thing, but I still think even to this day, it's honestly the craziest and kind of most ironic thing that Kelly Harper's last game as the Tennessee head coach was a loss to NC State. That's super ironic.
Pretty wild, isn't it?
That's pretty wild. So, but yeah, now the men's side. So obviously got to start from, so talk about how much did you pay for that first game against Louisville? Like talk about just the base of that first game in the ACC tournament.
Yeah. So for for men's basketball, as dark as it looked, obviously I'm going to still go and support NC State, and so it was being in our backyard. It was, 45-minute drive up to Capital One Arena. And, I literally waited till the last minute to buy tickets. I think what did we play, like at 1 or 2 o'clock that game, 2:30, something like that. So it was during the work day. Yep. And so I had to clear it with work. And once I got it cleared, I went on, I think it was like StubHub or Ticketmaster. I don't remember which one I went on and bought it. It was $5 to go. And so 2 tickets. Fees? Yeah. So it was like $9.99 with fees, but the base price was $5. So with all the fees, each of them were $10.
Wow. That's crazy.
Right. So even if so it was general admission, and I kind of worked my way down just to the edge of where they had roped off for family and friends. And so I was pretty close to, a lot of the family and friends, and I had met a few of them. I'd met the Burnses at that point, and Mike O'Connell's dad, Tim, and Alex Nunley's dad, John. So I knew a few of them. So I would, wave and say hi and just be loud. And we went on and won. And then it just kind of went from there, where the parents were like, okay, you need to be sitting down with us. And so thankfully and very blessed that, between multiples of the parents, they just kind of got me tickets into that section just to kind of be down there and lead the charge.
Yeah, absolutely. So now to kind of just basically group the rest of the ACC. So with Syracuse, Duke, Virginia, and then UNC. Talk about the moments that really stand out to you there for the rest of that ACC tournament run.
Yeah, so for me, like the Louisville just being down, I think we were down like 11, 17. I think we were down like 17 at one point, and then I think it was like 11 at halftime. And it looked like, well, the Kevin Keats era is done. Like, great man, just didn't get it done. Who are we going to go get next? And then they win that game, and you're like, okay, that's nice. That's cute, right? That's cute. And then you come out, and then you go play Syracuse, who you've already lost to twice in the season. And they really, the Raleigh game was a little bit close, but the Syracuse one wasn't, it didn't seem competitive at all. And you're like, oh, you just went and beat Syracuse, and you didn't just beat them.
18.
You destroyed them. And you're like,
you killed them.
Neutral court. Okay.
Yep.
And then you go play Duke, who you just lost to, a week and a half before that.
And got dominated.
Again, fairly close game. The final score wasn't indicative of it, but it was a pretty hard fought game.
Sure.
And you went and took it to them. And you're like, okay, we've won 3, but we're basically only halfway done. Now we're starting to get in uncharted territory, like, 4 games in 4 days, 5 games in 5 days. Like, it doesn't get easier. The competition is stepping up each round.
Yep.
And then you get to Virginia, and we played Virginia close. We beat them in Raleigh, and then we lost to them in overtime at Charlottesville, which I had gone to both of those games. And then I thought, we could have won either of those games. But then you get to the last minute of the game, where Virginia just doesn't lose in these type of situations. You're lucky to score 5 points in 5 minutes, right? And that, I think it was it 5 or 7? I'm trying to remember. Do you remember
how much we were down?
Yeah, I think we were down I want to say we were down 7 in the last minute. I don't know why that number sticks in my head.
It was 3 possessions. I remember that.
Yeah, and so you're like, well, this was fun. Like, we had a good time. Kevin Keats is probably still going to be fired.
Really? Wow.
Well, I think at that point it was 50-50, right? So I think he'd improved his odds, but if you believe some of the tea leaves that were out there, it sounded like he was probably going to be. Again, nothing definitive that we have to say that was going to be the case, but it just felt that way.
Yep.
And then homeboy misses the free throws, and this guy's like a 90% free throw shooter, and I'm starting to see 1983 all over again, where, that was the strategy. You start fouling guys and they start bonking things. And then the shot heard around Raleigh with the O'Connell, like toilet bowl.
Ugliest basketball shot of all time.
9 out of 10 times that thing rims out.
Yes.
It just rims out. And it goes in. And it's funny. You see the whole crowd reaction, and you can kind of see me in the background. everybody's going this, and I'm like, what just happened? Like, everybody's exuberant. I'm just in shock value at that point. And I turned to Lamar Horn, DJ Horn's dad, and I said, go ahead and put our name on that trophy right now. It's a wrap. We're going to win this tournament. And we had him on, and he vouched for that story. And I was like, this is destiny at this point. This has got to happen. Like, and so we go on and win in overtime, and then we got to face mighty North Carolina the next night, the 5th game in 5 days. And everyone is like, okay, it was fun. Carolina's going to get their trophy. You know, we've lost to them multiple times. It's, you know, we got blown out. I think we got blown out both games, if memory serves me correct. Because I know go ahead.
We lost 79-70 at UNC, and then we lost at home 67-54. So lost by 13 home. Yeah. And we lost by 9 at UNC.
Yeah. And so I was another funny story of all the miles, and we'll talk about the miles. I literally drove to Raleigh on what was that? I think it was a Tuesday night game in Raleigh against Carolina, Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't remember what night it was. Drove 4 hours down for the game from DC and drove 4 hours right back after the game. I think I got home at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and went to work the next day. Shout out to Hayes Lancaster for the tickets that night. And then Kins and I sat there and just had to watch it, and we just, you know, but that was kind of how the season went in the middle of the season. But we got to Carolina, and then it just started happening, right? We got out to that big lead. You know, you had the DJ Burns 3-point shot. And you're like, what is happening right now? You had you had the Ernest Ross putback right before the half. And you go down. I think we were down 1 at half. If memory serves me correctly.
You're correct.
Yeah, and you were just like, yeah, this is gonna happen tonight. It's just gonna happen. We're gonna find a way. And I tell you, the theme of the postseason, they figured out the defense, and that was like when you lock these guys down. And we always talk about Kevin Keats's mantra is the defense, right? Defense, forced turnovers, easy baskets, transition, all of that stuff. If you get into that mindset or that mold, it's going to be a tough team to deal with. And that's what you saw. And something flipped the switch. And I keep talking back. I think the difference of the season was Jaden Taylor going down. You had not really going down, but he had an injury earlier. And then the other thing was the mono.
I mean, Michael O'Connell stepping up was huge.
And then putting O'Connell in. And so when you inserted Diarra into the starting lineup because of the mono, and O'Connell, who had mono? I'm trying to remember his name. It's
Dennis Parker Jr.
Thank you, Dennis Parker Jr. His mono, unfortunately, and then we just figured out the rotation, and that season just flipped on a switch. And we need to look at the numbers before and after they put in O'Connell and Diarra, and I don't think we lost many games at that point after that.
No, well, and I mean, and Diarra went to a just go ahead and put in, forget it, double with points and rebounds every single game, basically from there on out. Yeah, and then Michael O'Connell seemed to be that glue that held the whole team together, and which is why, like we said, when he went down in the Purdue game, like that, honestly was one of the biggest reasons why we lost that game. And if we would have had O'Connell, I think it would have been a 1-2 possession game at the most. Yeah,
it would have been a 50-50 game at that point.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And then the other thing we haven't talked about during this whole run was Diarra with Ramadan, doing everything that he did, with I think it was 4 games that he had to play during the day, maybe 5 of that stretch where he couldn't partially have anything or not have anything at all. Right. Nope.
And then basically the training staff had to basically be on the watch, and then once it hit that time where it was dust, and they were just shoving bananas and
every
whatever they
can
down his throat. Yeah, exactly. So, but talk to me last thing, Greg, and then we'll wrap up here part 1 and move into part 2 here. But talk about this. What's one story or one moment that stands out to you after we won the AC championship? What's a moment or story that really stands out to you?
Yeah, for me, I was leaving the arena for the ACC, and Scooter Sherrill, everyone remembers him. He came up to me, and I didn't recognize him. It's been years, since you've seen him, and he came up and just like, hey, just want to say thank you for all of the, I heard you all 5 days, because he lives up here in the Northern Virginia, Maryland area. I think it's Virginia, actually. He lives about 20 minutes from where I live. And so he came up to me and just wanted to thank me for just being loud and proud and keeping the fans engaged and just, keeping them motivated, and by proxy that, and then tie that story into Coach Keats's wife. She came up to me, thanking me, just being that fan. And Scooter's kids wanted to get a picture with me. And so we took a picture right outside the arena, right behind the marquee with, State Carolina ACC championship. And I thought, that's cool. That was for me, I would have been the opposite when he was playing at State. Hey, can I get a picture? And for me, that was okay, this is why I do what I do as a fan, because I think it is important for the fans to be engaged and to get the players, motivated and keep their spirits up, even when things are looking dark, like I said, on the field or the court or whatever it may be.
Absolutely. All right, Wolfpack Nation. So we'll pause right there. In part 2, we'll pick up and talk about the NCAA tournament run for men's basketball, and then we'll move and talk about baseball. Really recapping all the miles and events that happened during the second half of the 2023-2024 NCAA athletic year. If you haven't already, y'all, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. That really helps support us, and to make sure that you do not miss out whenever we release any new episodes. If you love this season and if you love hearing the story, please do us a big favor and hit that like button. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening to this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review. Really greatly appreciate that as well. And give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. We'll see y'all for part 2, and go Pack, y'all. Go Pack.